Thomas Edison quotes, "The value of an idea lies in the using of it." A very good morning to the humble and the august gathering here present today. I am Suviti, a PhD scholar in the Department of Artificial Intelligence at IIT Hyderabad. As IIT Hyderabad elegantly enters its crystal year, I take this esteemed opportunity to warmly welcome you all to the first of its kind, the Innovation Day. Innovation Day, a day specifically dedicated to providing a platform for collaboration between startups, industry, academia, and tech transfer ready innovations. ITH is very proactive in taking industry academia relationship forward, and this is another step. I would also like to quote a famous scientist, William Broody, here. What is the calculus of an innovation? The calculus of an innovation is really quite simple. Knowledge drives innovation, innovation drives productivity, and productivity drives growth. That's what IIT Hyderabad believes in as well, and we proudly elaborate ITH as inventing and innovating in technology for humanity. Without taking much of your time, I now request our worthy director, Professor B.S. Murthy, for his welcome address and also to share the conceptualization and intent behind celebrating the Innovation Day.
Yes,
Definitely. Before that, I request our guest of honor and director, sir, to kindly come on the stage.
yes. Good morning and welcome to all of you friends for this first edition of Innovation Day at IIT Hyderabad. Unfortunately, we just came to know that Kishan Reddy Garu is unable to join us. But then I'm very happy that two stalwarts, and I would say, including our chairman is a part of our family. So many a times when
stalwarts.
yes, we do not talk much about our own family members many a times. So thanks to Secretary, DSP Secretary Chandrasekhar Garu for being with us today, and Srikanth Garu for sparing his time and coming all the way to be with us today and share his thoughts on innovations. And of course, our chairman, who is well known as a great supporter of innovations. In fact, if we are able to do a lot of great things at IIT Hyderabad, it is thanks to constant support, constant guidance that our BOG chairman, Mohan Reddy Garu, gives to all of us. IIT Hyderabad, just to tell to all of you about the kind of ecosystem that is being nurtured at IIT Hyderabad. Innovation is almost in the blood of IIT Hyderabad, students and faculty everywhere around. And that's seen even from the beginning when IIT Hyderabad started. We started something very unique, fractal system, academic system. Again, no institute in the country had a fractal academic system when it started at IIT Hyderabad. And then we have a number of innovative programs that have been started even from the beginning. For example, we have a BTech in Engineering Sciences. Some of you probably have heard of that. It's a program where students are given complete freedom to choose whatever courses they want to be. And at the end of 2 years, we ask them, do you want to continue like this, or you want to have some specialization? And then depending on their choice, they either get a specialization or continue to get a BTech in Engineering Science. So which is a very unique, I don't think any IIT has ever, kind of ventured into such a new domain. So like that, we have been trying various experiments and with a thought that we should be the leaders and think out of the box. And quite a number of new programs, academic programs have been started. In the last 3 years, for example, we have the first interdisciplinary program in BTech. You must have heard of a large number of master's programs which are interdisciplinary. This is an interdisciplinary program in BTech, which we call it as computational engineering, where we don't teach them Java, C++, for example, but we teach them numerical methods and solid mechanics, fluid mechanics, multi-scale modeling, and materials modeling, biomodeling, and things like that, so that we create computational engineers for a manufacturing industry rather than a software industry. So this is something, so we have been looking at what does the industry really want and started creating courses, programs which are tuned towards industry, because we strongly believe two things. One is that education should be student centric, and engineering education should be industry centric. And according to that, we have started a number of innovative programs. So this is something. And when it comes to innovation per se from the student side, we have very strong support that is provided to the students, to the extent that we have a program called Build Projects. Every year, twice, we call for proposals from our students. Bold and unique ideas leading to development is what we say. And we select some proposals from them, and we give them a funding of about 1 lakh and to begin with. And if they need more, we usually support that. And at the end of 6 months, we expect them to come up with some prototype. Okay, and then this can be done together with their coursework. And if a student says, I want to take a semester break and I want to pursue this my dream project, we provide them 6 credits for pursuing that, even if it is a first semester of BTech. Okay, to that extent, we provide them an opportunity to really pursue their dreams. Okay, and we also provide a lot of opportunities for students to come up with prototypes. In fact, we have programs which are only prototype driven programs. We have, for example, an MTech program called Medical Device Innovation. This is in jointly with AIG, Asian Institute of Gastroenterology, Dr. Nageshwar Reddy Garu, who gave support for starting this program. And in this program, the student spends 4 months in a hospital and comes out and picks up one problem that either a patient or a doctor is facing. And at the end of 2 years, the student is ready with a prototype. So that is something very innovative. And in fact, we have got connected to a number of healthcare industry, because we strongly see a great ecosystem of healthcare in Hyderabad. With Prashant Garu is sitting here. With LV Prasad, we have started an MTech in ophthalmic engineering, where the LV Prasad doctors teach the anatomy of the eye. We teach optics, lasers, and the technology for eye care. And that's something, and the students at the end of the 2 years will become experts in the area of technology for eye care. Similarly, with Basavatarakam, we started something called MSc in medical physics, where 1 full year the student spends in the oncology hospital and comes out as a radiation expert. So we always strongly believe, how do we collaborate together with people and then grow? I strongly believe collaborations is the only way to grow. And that is something that we are trying to see wherever there is a possibility of collaborating. With DRDO, we have collaborated, started an MTech in additive manufacturing. And like this, there are numerous programs that are coming up with collaborations to see that we grow together with everyone around us. That's something which strongly believe that the way forward, and for the country to become Atmanirbhar, it is essential to identify collaborations. Today, when we invite all of you, we invite you not just to see the technologies that are coming from IIT Hyderabad, but to see where do we take them further and together. And that is the main intention that we have invited all of you. Thank you very much for coming, and I'm sure that you will have a great time to see the various technologies that are coming out. And to the extent that IIT Hyderabad, in the last 4 or 5 years, we have more than 100 startups which have created more than 1,000 jobs and about 800 crores of revenue. So that is the kind of ecosystem that exists at IIT Hyderabad. I'm sure that in 10 years down the line, people are not going to ask or measure an institute in terms of the pay packages the students get, but in terms of the jobs that their students are creating. So we would like to see that our students are not job seekers, but job creators. And that is the direction in which we have been doing a lot. So I'm sure with the support of many like you, we would be able to create such kind of environment. In fact, even on the entrepreneurship, IIT Hyderabad is doing reasonably well. We have a department of entrepreneurship, and now a school of innovation and entrepreneurship is coming up with the support of our chairman Garu, Mohan Reddy Garu, and we are very soon we would see a school of innovation and entrepreneurship. And this particular department has already started an MTech program on techno entrepreneurship, which is a 2-year program. At the end of the program, student has a prototype and at the same time a business model for it. We want to start from next year a BTech in techno entrepreneurship, where the student will specialize. A lot of discussions are happening. Once it is approved in the Senate, we would be possibly having that in place, where the student will specialize in one of the branch and at the same time continuously taking a number of entrepreneurship related courses, and finally he will have a prototype and a business model in hand. So that's another direction where we are moving. Even another strong collaboration that we have recently established is with Greenco, where we are setting up a school of what is called climate change and sustainability. We have already a department of climate change at IIT Hyderabad, which is already offering an MTech program on climate change. We want to start very soon an MTech program on sustainability from the coming August, once it is approved in the Senate. And with this school, we would like to see how we can strengthen the ecosystem on sustainability at IIT Hyderabad. So like this, there are great things that are happening. And of course, if I talk about research, you are all aware of the 5G research that is coming out of IIT Hyderabad. We were the first to come up with the NB-IoT chip, which is a 5G NB-IoT chip in the country. And that's again, we have signed an MOU with Cyient together with TSMC to see that it is manufactured on a large scale. And on the autonomous navigation, again, IIT Hyderabad is on the forefront. Possibly in 2-3 months, if you come to the campus, you will have an autonomous vehicle waiting at the main gate to bring you into the campus and take you all around the campus. Okay, we are actually training about 10 students who will be guides for you to take you around in an autonomous vehicle and showing you around. So that is the kind of level of research happening. Recently, about 150 kg payload capacity drone has been tested on the campus, and we are looking forward to developing passenger drones for like an air ambulance. So like this, a lot of innovative things are happening, and with your support, I'm sure that we will grow together to greater heights to make the country a great leader in the world, to show light, to show the path to various countries all around us. Thank you very much, friends.
Thank you, sir, for your warm words of welcome. And there's no reiteration in the fact that when actually provided a limitless sky, creative minds and ideas are ought to prosper. In the words of Stephen Johnson, if you look at history, innovation just doesn't come from giving incentives. It comes from creating environments where ideas can connect. With this, I invite Professor Surya Kumar, Dean, Innovation, Translation and Startups, to give us a roundup of the Innovation Day 2023 and what to expect from this day-long event. Please, sir.
Thank you. Good morning, dignitaries, and glad to see all of you here. So I think let me directly go to the topic, the Innovation Day 2023. So many people ask me, Surya, what is innovation? And for example, how is it different from, let us say, research or science and technology, R&D, etc. I think from a dictionary point of view, maybe may not be, I'm not an English this thing, but at least there is a contextual and a intent which is there in the words behind innovation. And at least I will try to emphasize two of them. One, that there is always a idea to a user connect when you're talking innovation. So that means not just are we thinking of an idea, but keeping an end user in the mind, keeping the idea to the market in mind. The end user may be economy, the end user may be social, the end user may be from a technical point of view, but there is always a idea to the market connect and a commercialization or a utilization of the technology you're developing. That's one. And two, if you look at it, there is also additional facet of it is you don't assume one has a very strong, necessarily kind of a structured or this thing background to it. So usually when you talk technological solutions, you used to only come huge R&D facilities, huge institutes and universities, etc., which used to come to our mind when we talk about technological solutions. Now, the idea here is even a individual entrepreneur with adequate passion, maybe just in the garage, is capable of doing it. And I think that is the decentralization of innovation we are addressing. Naturally, all of these are important, but the assumption that you need a lot of background, you need a lot of huge resources, etc., huge set of this thing to do innovation and to find a solution is not necessarily true. It is passion which drives, and of course, resources helps. Okay, and in this context is where IIT Hyderabad innovations also come into the picture. Is where we want to facilitate innovators with passion. It may be students, it may be faculty, it may be entrepreneurs outside the IIT, all of them, and help them get the ecosystem, get the right platform to make this, take this idea into a working prototype, into a market ready, into a commercialization, etc., and finally to the successful product. And again, innovation is not an activity in my opinion. It is rather a ecosystem. So if you want to talk about innovation, you have to talk about design thinking, you have to talk about prototyping, you have to talk about product certification, you have to talk about patenting. And IIT Hyderabad tries to do all this and create an ecosystem, with a vibrant ecosystem which is capable of addressing various parts of innovation. We have 3 incubators with us: IITH, CFHE, FABC. We have technology centers like Tihan with us. We have industry hubs like Research Park with us. We have a IP cell. We have a R&D center, etc. And the idea here is all these are integrated, and we also have an integrated innovation institute innovation policy to tie them together. And the idea here is create a vibrant ecosystem which becomes conducive for the students and the faculty and the entrepreneurs to become innovators. And so what you'll be seeing today and what we'll be trying to showcase today is a result of such activities at IIT Hyderabad. You can see them mainly into 3 categories. Firstly, facilitators. So various centers and sections of IIT Hyderabad which are aiding and facilitating such activity. 2, technologies which are developed by students and faculty of IIT Hyderabad and which are at a fairly higher level so that they can be adopted and taken up by industry. And 3, work which is done by our startups which are incubated here. And I hope so soon after the inauguration, we'll also please join us for the visit to the TIP center. So that's a beautiful building taking shape. So it's a building now, and we are trying to make it our home in the next couple of weeks and months. And we'll be happy to see you joining there. And with this, I look forward and welcome you to the stalls and the demonstrations which are kept there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that brief roundup on the Innovation Day 2023. I'm sure everyone sitting here would be enthralled to see how the day unfolds. Innovation is the unrelenting drive to break the status quo and develop anew where few have dared to go. A push, a support, a daring mind is all that matters. And as mentioned by our director, sir, that push and that support has been immense from the BOG chair, IIT Hyderabad, to us. With this, I request Sri BVR Mohan Reddy, BOG chair, IIT Hyderabad, for his able address to the kind gathering. Sir.
Dr. S Chandrasekhar, Srikant Velamakani, Professor B.S. Murthy, Professor Suri Kumar, several other dignitaries who are in the audience this morning. And ladies and gentlemen, the faculty, and also I see several students also with us today. A very good morning to all of you. At the outset, let me welcome you all for the first Innovation Day of IIT Hyderabad. I'm sure IIT Hyderabad was found in 2008. It's almost 14 years now. But we're doing it for the first time, which means that we've come to a level where we can display what we have done so far with great amount of confidence. And the route for this Innovation Day lied in an event that we did about 3 months back. As much as we are doing the first time a day called Innovation Day, for the first time in the history of IIT system itself, we did something called the IIT R&D Fair. We brought all the 23 IITs under a single roof and displayed the amount of R&D and innovation work that they've done in IIT Delhi campus. We had 75 projects to be done, projects which were displayed that day out of about 450 entities that came in. That certainly brought in enormous amount of visibility for us to bring in more amount of momentum to this cause to say we need to ensure that what we are doing at this point of time is converted into reality. There couldn't have been a better statement than what Mr. Modi, our Prime Minister, made at the Indian National Congress in the last few days. He said, science will prosper only when it moves from lab to land. And we thought about this. This has been an idea which was there, even it was so well said by Honorable Prime Minister, was we thought we'll bring three eminent people, the three stakeholders, will make a difference to us in terms of ensuring that we truly move this science from lab to land. The first is we thought we'll bring a politician, Mr. Kishan Reddy, a policymaker he is, so therefore we thought it was important. Unfortunate that he's not here. The second was we said we'll bring Dr. Chandrasekhar, a man who I think he's not completed his 2 years still, but it makes me feel that he's been here for a long time with all the very positive things that he has done, the dynamism he displays in terms of making sure things happen. And we've seen a number of policies coming out, more than policies coming out, executing them. And more importantly, the friendliness with which he supports academic institutions, research institutions, the industry, and so on and so forth. On that count, may I request all of you to join your hands to welcome our Dr. Mr. Dr. Chandrasekhar. We then said the third constituent which would make sure that this becomes reality in terms of moving our research into the marketplace. People have defined innovation as part of marketplace too, is that we said we'll bring somebody from the industry who is on the leading edge of technologies. And the first name that came to my mind was my good friend, Srikant Velamakani. Srikant is the group CEO. He's a vice chairman. He's the founder of the best data analytics company, a data analytics and AI company called Fractal Analytics. He'll talk more about it as he comes by. And Srikanth has been, you go back and Google around him, you'll find, has been documented to be a great thought leader. He has been a person who is a visionary. And finally, he's also been a person who created innovation extensively in his company. And of course, he's also an IIT alumni and an IIM alumni, all right? So we thought, the third guest that we'll have today is Srikanth. So let's also join your hands and welcome in. Certainly, let me go back to the topic we are on, is the Innovation Day. There's a constant criticism about India, which says that, we spend fairly small amount of money on R&D. Western world spends 3% of money or GDP. We spend less than 1%, or, it depends upon how they count. It becomes 1.5% if required. And the second one that they also criticize us is saying that the corporate does not fund R&D in this country. And the reason why the IIT R&D fair happened and why Innovation Day is happening today too is only to address these issues. Our belief is, and personally my strong belief is, and I was the guy who mooted this idea at the IIT Council to get the IIT R&D Day done also, is that our R&D is being funded well, but more often than not, it is being seen as a one-way street. Money flows in from DST, biotechnology, Department of Biotechnology, several other institutions. And it gets good amount of research gets done by our outstanding researchers. Great publications go thereafter, but stop there. They don't go to become products. They don't become commercialized. That is a big challenge for us, because if they don't, then what happens is, it's great. You probably, in many instances, there are TRL 6, 7 level that they come by. But they don't come to a level where you can get to absolutely a product stage, where it's prototyping and get into the field. There's no denying at all, some basic research is important. But critical for success of a nation to me is translation of this research into products. So the other side is a consumer who comes in. We'll come to the two consumers and in a minute. But therefore, I think the first thing we need to do is a clear effort at this point of time to ensure that what we are being done is showcased to a level people can use it. The second criticism that happens is that, corporate does not fund. In the Western world, 70% of R&D is funded by corporate. In India, hardly it is touching a number called 22-23% is what corporate spends on R&D. And the reason for it is also manifold. And if you go back and look at what corporate R&D has happened so far in this country, it happened largely in automobile components, pharma, biotechnology, and in the recent past in the technology industry itself, which you can call it as IT industry. Why does it happen? There was no need for research as such. Freely technologies were available that you could bring products into India. But that is now coming to a stop. We're seeing those changes very well at this point of time. I should acknowledge it. I have no hesitation. I do not belong to a political party. Please don't mistake me. But I should acknowledge it that truly the initiative of Atmanirbhar Bharat is being felt. And I'll call out one department which is doing extremely well is defense and aerospace. Lots of importance being given to local products, local entrepreneurs. So only when you start saying that you got to produce something in India, which we'll consume to thereafter, there is an assured market for you, only then will we find R&D being done. So on both these counts, therefore, what we're seeing is, on the first count, initiatives of this nature, in making sure there is more amount of connectivity between what you're doing to the audience. We'll come to the audience part of it. And the second one is a compelling reason for the government to say we'll consume here would make R&D prosper in this country. Now come to what's happening with the consumer part of it. The two streams which are to be consuming this research that you're doing. One is our industry, the other is the startups. I'll make them two distinctly different subsets. For the simple reason, the objectives of both these entities are different from one another. Corporates are already there. For them, it's some more addition to what they have as service offerings. They all recognize at this point of time, they're not doing enough of R&D. They should bring R&D from education institutions. But we're not making both these people sit on the table. We continue to think that the academic institutions do research for long term. They all want to produce papers and papers. That's one. Whereas industry believes that way. Whereas academia feels industry is all set to short term guys. They want something to produce yesterday, day before yesterday. I think these objectives to a certain extent is true, what the impressions people had. But what I think we need to do going forward is making sure that we bridge this gap and making sure that we collaborate. And that is the key for this Innovation Day. We would have people coming in and look at what we have here to prove to the industry. I have both hats on. I can be an academician, I can be an industry too, to make sure that they come together in ensuring that we have a collaboration and this can get monetized. I use this word fairly often. R&D is not a one-way street. You can't pour money into it, but the money you pour into it has to be monetized thereafter with a multiplier effect that comes in. And the second one is that I think Professor Murthy talked about it fairly well. There's so much amount of need for entrepreneurship in this country. And entrepreneurship will definitely require more amount of innovation to come from our academic institutions with ideas, with products, with services, and so on and so forth. And entrepreneurship to us, there's fairly large amount of research, if you people want to go and look at it, is also an indicator of prosperity of a nation. Because around the world, what we find is 60% of net new jobs created in any single calendar year are done by startups. So therefore, there is a need for more amount of jobs, and I really like, he has been repeating this fairly often, Professor Murthy does, that he says from now onwards, we should measure the success of an IIT based on how many jobs are created by our students. And if those jobs are to be created by students, the support system has to work. I think Surya Kumar talked about it. He said innovation is all about ecosystem creation. You can't be taught. It's not a lab. It's not a medicine. It's not a class. It has to be create this ecosystem in making sure we get the design thinking, people challenge the status quo, they have the ability to take risks, and they have the complete support system. People are there to finance them, fund them. There are people to mentor them. So all these will help in terms of startups coming by, but the key to it is that you got to have the technology too. So we want to address these two, create clearly two different segments, the corporate and the startups. Make them come into our campus, make them feel very comfortable in what's happening here to ensure that at the end, there is prosperity for this nation. With that, I wish all the very best to the organizers. Surya Kumar has put in a lot of effort. Professor Murthy has put in more amount of effort. I really admire Professor Murthy. You saw the list of things that he told all of you. They're all reality. I vouch for it. The number of initiatives that have gone by, whether it is I wanted to alert them to say we should clap for Professor Murthy. No. Before I said that, Professor Murthy, they did it on their own. But I think the technology, some of them that we have in the campus today, you'll certainly find them extremely beneficial. With that count, have a great day today, and we'll always look forward to interact with more amount of industry, more amount of interaction with our faculty to ensure that we have a great future for this nation. Thank you. Thank you.
If you don't mind, I'll break the protocol just to make one announcement. saying that we have now on the campus two buildings. One is called TRP, Technology Research Park. Professor Sumohana is sitting here. He's the professor in charge of that, where any industry can take a space and then collaborate with us. Okay, so we look forward to people. It's a 1.5 lakh square foot area. Okay, so that's a large space created. And another building which is called TIP, where we are all going today to see the startups and the technology. And that TIP is meant only for the startups. Technology Innovation Park, we call it as the Technology Research Park, Technology Innovation Park, where we would like to see the all innovative ideas of the whole country, or if possible even from outside, are brought there, nurtured there. So we want to give space there for them and then provide support, mentoring support, and if funding is needed, if some of you are willing to fund such innovative ideas, we would like to take up those and see that we nurture innovations. So we want to see IIT Hyderabad growing as a cradle for innovations and nurturing innovations. Thank you very much.
With this, I thank BOG Chair for his able address. And I believe everyone here would believe that with such an encouraging support, the seed of innovation has been sown well. I would now like to introduce you all to our first guest of honor for the day, Dr. S. Chandrasekhar, Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. Dr. S. Chandrasekhar, the former director of the Indian Institute of Chemical Technology, IICT, is a renowned. Oh,
No, wrong for me.
is this foreign, sir?
No,
Yes.
he said
Yes.
she has given me a new name.
I apologize for that, sir. Yeah. So he is the former director of Indian Institute of Chemical Technology and is a renowned synthetic organic chemist and has made significant contributions in the diverse areas of organic chemistry with special emphasis on chiral chemistry, total synthesis of biologically active natural products and pharmaceutical products. He has more than 285 publications with around 7,600 citations. He has several accolades, including Eminent Scientist Award for contributions in the field of chemistry from Telangana State Government in the year of 2017. Sir, I request you to kindly come and address the gathering.
We have forgotten to tell that he is a distinguished professor at IIT Hyderabad.
Greetings to all the dignitaries on the dais. Am I audible? Thank you. And all the friends in the audience, good morning and also belated Happy New Year greetings while we are meeting for the first time in this year. Thank you, BOG Chairman Sahab, that you touched upon what Honorable Prime Minister spoke at the Indian Science Congress 108th edition. I've been there in Nagpur for the last 4 days and came by road here because Murthy was catching all of me. So we were witness to what PM was speaking to all of us. The message has been very loud and clear and which you captured very well. I think lab to land has been the mantra. But to take forward, I personally compliment all the friends who are displaying their exhibits at the Innovation 23 today. Hopefully all of us would go and witness them. I would like to touch upon few points which my predecessor speakers did not touch upon. Maybe I repeat a few of them. While I represent the Government of India Secretary, Department of Science and Technology, the mandate has been to promote science and technology for the last 52 years. The new science technology policy is coming up, which will have a new word now. It's called STI policy, Science, Technology and Innovation Policy. So basically, it's going to be innovation part of S&T ecosystem. Hopefully that should roll out this year. These new guidelines will enable the innovation system to be better. I also would like to touch upon comments on when we talk of innovation. Is innovation different from invention? And we're always talking of innovation, which is a follow-up of invention. So why are we not inventing then? Why are we only innovating? So are we not competent to invent? So we are taking an easier path. Something is invented already and we innovate over the invention. So our minds are free to think, free to imagine what is required. When we study our high school grammar, we'll be taught Marconi invented radio. I think that's the word we learn. Invention word is taught to us as Marconi invented radio. And we also say that Columbus discovered America. So we see the difference between discovery and invention through this example, which is taught in our high school grammar. So anyway, discovery has to be something already existing. That's what we say for America. And then for invention, of course, it's not there. So Marconi invented the radio. So then why are we not inventing? Why are we only innovating? So this question we need to ask ourselves. And I think we need a lot of free thinking that we need to do new things in life. I do believe IIT has all this strong ecosystem, which not only will innovate what's already there, polish upon, make it a product, take it from TRL 4 to TRL 9 and put into the market. But TRL 1 is the invention actually. So, which is also a fundamental science, hopefully, and that becomes a product. I do believe we take the mantra of invention and innovation together rather than separating both of them. If you're talking of innovation, because that's the topic we are talking today, what are the benchmarks we are going to set up for the innovation? I am making some innovation which is useful to Sangareddy district. I'm successful, I'm okay, I made some small thing and Sangareddy market, the product is sold and 10 people get the employment. Am I content with that? I'm making some invention which caters to entire Hyderabad. Am I developing something which goes to entire Telangana or entire country, or it will go beyond India? I think our products have to be beyond our imagination of just India. It has to reach everywhere. And those technologies have to be market competitive. End of the day, if market competitive is not there, I think we will not reach beyond certain level. So when my young friends are starting innovation companies and they are aspiring to create employment, and if you look at the DPIIT data, it's slightly alarming. While we are pushing startups, we are not able to handhold them till they survive to the fullest extent. People at BTech final year excite, get an idea, and Murthy is very generous. He'll give you free space. Then our BOG chairman is a little more generous. He'll give a little more money. He'll find an investor. But then what happens after 2 years, 3 years? The recent newspaper item about 4 days ago, 5 days ago, says this year alone, 2020-21, 4,600 startups have been shut down. So number of startups which are opening versus number of startups which are getting shut down. So we need to also map it. We are all scared that the world will be flooded with population. But suddenly we know we got a plateau, it's coming down now. I'm told Andhra Pradesh and Telangana have 4 lakh voters less than last time. So we have hit the plateau already. And we know that the measures taken by the government across the world have given fruits. And today some countries are struggling to have more children. So in innovation ecosystem also, we touched 80,000 startups. We are very proud. We are third in the world. But then the closure ratio has to be controlled. So I do believe that the learned colleagues in the audience today, also on the stage here, what are the measures and mechanisms we need to take that someone who got excited and started, how are we going to handhold them till he establishes himself, both financially and technologically, handholding that he is successful? Then only he can create the employment. Otherwise, after 5 years, he would be a job seeker. So that's something we are not giving a thought. We're all excited about pushing people into this ecosystem, but I do believe that DST has realized that we need to handhold them. The kind of programs we are launching currently today, while we do take support of IITs in building technology innovation hubs, we also go to grassroots innovations. DST is the only ministry across India, not only in India, but nowhere in the world, you will see National Innovation Foundation dedicated for grassroots innovations. located in Ahmedabad. And this institute tries to touch the innovations which are made at the grassroots level. We do believe that innovations don't happen not just in IIT campuses or ISC campus, nor in Harvard and MITs, but do happen at the grassroots. When we look at the recognitions the current government proactively recognizes the kind of grassroots innovations, you will suddenly see someone getting a Padma Shri award, the fourth highest civilian award for grassroots innovation. So this is the kind of recognition this government gives to encourage the grassroots innovation. So my request to the young entrepreneurs who are in the audience or some mentors who are going to help them either through investments or mentorship is please also look at the wider innovation space. Innovation is not confined to the park, what we are going to see today or 20 IITs, but they are across the country. We all believe that innovations are in the kitchen also. Who knows, my mother while cooking has innovation, or my wife or my cook will have innovation in the cooking system. We mapped these kind of innovations across, and many new ideas do come out of these kind of things. We also initiated a program in CSR some time ago, open source drug discovery program, which is called OSDD. Anyone and everyone on this planet can participate in drug discovery program. Those who understand drug discovery know that you need to make 1 million compounds, organic chemicals you make in the lab, test them, and only out of 1 million, only one could become a drug. It doesn't become a drug, the company will lose $1 billion. Or 2 billion currently the market expenditure on drug innovation. So we said, why not we pick up molecules from every college, every school, wherever a small chemical is made, store them and start screening them. That's how the open source drug discovery program is formulated. Similarly, IIT could have a website. Any new idea could be posted on the website. And maybe an IIT graduate would look at it and then refine and make it much better than what I could imagine. He may not get a new idea, but looking at the repository of ideas on the website, he could polish upon, make it a new innovation. I do believe that IIT will take a lead in connecting to those grassroots innovations. I had the privilege of visiting Telangana University yesterday while driving from Nagpur. It's an 8-hour drive, 7.5 hours, and Nizamabad is the midpoint. So the Vice Chancellor has been asking me I should visit them, and I thought, it's okay, now that I'm passing by Nizamabad, I stopped by 2 hours. I interacted with 200 postgraduate students there. I felt so bad. They're all as bright as all of us, maybe brighter than all of us. But then the kind of ambience they get in a state university is so unacceptable, honestly. So I told the Vice Chancellor that while you drive the university, but it's your responsibility to go to ministries like ours and take some funds and see that the infrastructure is built, the culture of innovation is nurtured there. So we gave them small grant to make a small startup ecosystem in Nizamabad, which also has a lot of tribes around. They can go to Adilabad, you will feel a lot of tribal community who can come up with new problems, and then we can give new solutions to them. I request friend Murthy that he should connect to some of these state universities, especially Mahatma Gandhi University, Telangana University. Usmania is well taken. I mean, it's in part of a corporate city. I mean, you don't require to worry too much about Usmania and JNTU. But Telangana University, which I felt that those students are as bright as all of us, and I mean, they need a hand-holding. Maybe they come and spending a week interacting with all your faculty, and their thought processes will change. I asked one simple question in the audience. What is the burning problem today world is facing? I was not trying to answer. One girl biotechnology student, MSc first year, sir, global warming is the biggest burning challenge. She did not say 5G. She did not say internet is not coming properly. But one young girl in a small village is able to think of global warming. And then again ask the question, what are the reasons of global warming? And one BSc final year student got up and said, sir, carbon dioxide. While he doesn't know greenhouse gas is the word, but he was able to. So these guys are reading, they're understanding what is the problem, but they're not able to get the ambience what we show them. So those who would like to visit, especially my friends in the front rows, I'm sure they're all the leaders of various organizations, various institutes. I think we need to handhold these state university ecosystem to see that they are part of the main ecosystem. And if you have more ideas in your bucket, I'm sure you could pick up the best ideas and then take them forward, rather than only looking at IIT Kanpur and Hyderabad and only 40 inventions and then take them forward. As I told, the political leadership is very positive. While we don't align to any party, we are all government servants. But the current government has been pushing on the national education policy, which has come up very aggressively. We all have appreciated it. We have given inputs. So how again this new education policy will drive us? Also, one challenge we are going to encounter is the differentiation of research from lab. When you say lab to land, are we defining the PhD problems to our students correctly? I always tell my research guides, I'm sure IIT will have about 300 research supervisors, maybe more, I don't know. And IICT, when I was as a director there, we had 140 PhD supervisors. I'm sure every institute will have at least 100 supervisors who are aspiring to produce every year 2 PhDs, because they're allowed to take 12 students. So every year 2 will graduate out. What problems we are giving to our students? Are those problems relevant to today? Are the problems relevant for 2040? Are the problems relevant to 2200? Or they just confined to one publication today, give 30 citations in 5 years, and my H index will go to 45 or 50? I only recap Professor Chandra Rao telling me that, Chandra, what's your H index? I said, sir, 49 or 50. Oh, shame on you. I said, sir, what? It should be at least your age. So you're 58, your H index had to be 58. And he said, what is my H index? So I don't know, sir. I mean, while I know, I just wanted to tease him. 120. I said, sir, you're a 120-year-old man now. So I think we measure our successes by some numbers. I think we are not here, as Murthy has a number, that how many jobs I've created will measure IIT quality. Maybe an academic professor, to get a Bhatnagar award, how much H index you have, how many nature publications you have done. So what is the research we are doing, which is becoming development, which becomes an idea for a startup company, and then that becomes an innovation, and someone takes it forward from TRL 3, 4 to TRL 7, and some industry invests and make a manufacturing factory. Then you are TRL 9, 10, and the product is in the market. So this end-to-end from zero or whatever lab Honorable PM told to the market, I think someone has to map. And we need to have some small teams in the management group who tend to take up these challenges. Why companies fail? Many times we only say why Mukesh Ambani became richest man, or why Adani became third richest in the world, or why our BOG chairman is so successful, or why our other expert on the dais is so successful. We only measure those 10 success stories, but there are 1,000 failed stories. If we understand why they failed, I'm sure we can create more success stories. I always try to look at why someone failed, because I failed my exams many a times. So I always failed and looked for government to add some grace marks so that you can pass the board exam. So I do believe that failures are not failures forever. They do succeed someday, and they succeed much better, actually. If you look at Adani, who's a BCom second year dropout, I'm told, and Ambani, who created the entire wealth for the country, was not even a high school student, and Steve Jobs was a dropout, went to Banaras, Kashi, and spent some time, got enlightened. Certainly, successes are elsewhere, and I think we are searching elsewhere. So I do believe that we search these innovations with open eye and see that the true innovations get the true space in this planet. And science is going to be beyond planet. As we look at Mars and Jupiter and whatnot, Moon. I was looking at a presentation made by ISRO chairman in the Science Congress on how we landed on the moon, but we had a rough landing. So then we need to go back and see what is the smooth landing. And we also claim that the Mangalyaan was the cheapest in the world. So certainly India can do the best with the lowest investments. I do believe that all of you believe in this mantra. Make in India, Startup India is going to make India the best country in the world, developed nation by 2047. I wish all of you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think a key takeaway from his address would be that innovations does not happen at Harvard or Stanford or any one IIT or any other acclaimed institutions. but rather innovations happen at grassroots level. Thank you, sir. I now would like to introduce to you all our next guest of honor of the day, Shri Shrikant Venmukandi. He's the Group Chief Executive and Vice Chairman at Fractal. He co-founded Fractal Analytics in 2000, well before analytics and AI were entire industries. He also served as CEO of Fractal Analytics from 2006 to 2016. Before Fractal, he was an investment banker and worked across structured debts and CDOs at ANZ and ICICI Limited. By academic degree, he is an electrical engineer from IIT Delhi and an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad. He considers himself as a lifelong student of mathematics, probability, and AI. Sir, I warmly welcome you on stage for your proficient address.
I want to take a quick poll of how many of you in this room have heard or have experienced something known as Chat GPT. See? Okay, amazing, right? Similarly, you must have heard of something called as DALI 2, Stable Diffusion, Mid Journey. So earlier this year, there was a state fair in the state of Colorado, which is an art competition. They have this annual art competition. And the one that won the award was actually a painting defined and designed by AI using Mid Journey. This gentleman, Alan, Mr. Allen, he actually used the AI, he gave it a prompt, and it delivered this beautiful looking art. Unfortunately, I don't have a slide to show you that art. And that won the award. And people have been thinking, you know, this must be something must be wrong here. This is cheating. This is not real art. But then if you are someone, for example, there are careers of people who make album CD covers, right? So if you're creating let's say Beyonce's next album is coming out, somebody has to design the visual of the album cover. And that used to be a human realm. That used to be people used to, artists used to be employed for that. But today, if you're such a person, you absolutely have to use the latest AI technique or the latest AI tool that is available to enhance this picture. So human creativity was supposed to be in the human realm. But now if you want to be creative, you are going to be augmented by AI, right? So we are living in a very different world compared to where, things were 100 years ago, 50 years ago. And that is why I think I want to tell you a little bit about AI and how it's going to change the shape and future of humankind. And therefore, how can we drive innovation through AI? So back when I was graduating from my undergrad in the mid 90s, it was a winter of AI because, I was in the electrical engineering department and there was a computer science department, and there was a difference in the view what AI was between the computer sciences and the electrical engineering departments. Computer sciences were all about rules, lots of rules, expert systems. That was really what was defined as AI. And electrical engineering, there were a bunch of people who were experimenting with neural networks. For example, neural networks for signature verification, fingerprint identification, and so on. And it turns out that many, many years later, that branch of neural networks is what really has taken off. So in 1998, when Gary Kasparov was defeated by IBM's Deep Blue, this is supposed to be the win of AI. But then that AI now we will call that as the good old-fashioned AI, because it was about teaching machines a whole host of rules. You give more rules, more exceptions, more rules. You'll define early stages of a chess game, mid stages of a chess game, end games, and then you'll train the machine to explore all the possibilities, compute the sort of likelihood of winning, and then pick the best one, right? That was the idea. And human beings can compare hundreds of games when they're making their next move, but a chess program could do millions of such moves. And that's how Deep Blue defeated Kasparov. But that is a good old-fashioned AI world. This AI that we have been witnessing for the last 12 to 13 years has been about teaching machines how to think and make up their own rules, right? So in that way, it's, supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and even, sort of mixed other semi-supervised learning methods are all about teaching machines, not giving them rules, but teaching them how to think. Give them examples, they'll learn, and then start to create magic. And with all of these situations, what you see is that any new technology that comes in, it comes out as huge, it's magic, right? Because when you see Chat GPT and it's giving you all these wonderful outputs, it feels like it's magic. But in a few years from now, it becomes mundane, it becomes normal, it becomes natural. We expect it to, this is how it's supposed to work. Any kid today, I mean, who's 10 years or younger, automatically thinks that every single device that they see is a touch screen, right? Many of us have grown up when there were no touch screens. In fact, there are comical situations of kids thinking that books are also should be touch screen, right? So that's the world we live in. It's magical, and yet it becomes mundane very quickly. And this transition can happen very, very fast. There's, in the 1900s, early 1900s, the entire world was full of horse-drawn carriages. And in just about 10 years, by 1915, if you look at, for example, New York, the city of New York, the whole place was filled with automobiles. And that transition was so quick that the entire industry of breeding horses had completely decimated. So this can happen very, very quickly. And given any exponential technology like AI, the cost of that the cost comes down much faster than Moore's law. It is much faster because it's a combination of various things. And I'm going to tell you that as to how you can use AI to actually drive innovation. So there are three things that I want to tell you about in terms of that. Number one is the first equation I want to talk about is how do you reduce error? Because if you want to make something truly innovative, it has to be better than human accuracy. That's your first threshold to cross. Now, as an example, in 2011, when Apple launched iPhone 4S with Siri as an integrated feature of iPhone 4S, it was supposed to do, it was supposed to give you, talk to you and, give you instructions, etc., and, sort of solve your problems, all of that. But it was comically bad. I'm sure some of you would have experienced it back 10, 12 years ago, that the natural language understanding, natural language processing was really, really weak in the initial model of the iPhone 4S. And because of that, it didn't understand our accents, etc. But in about 4 years from now, from 2011 to 2016, the accuracy really dropped below the threshold of human accuracy. So it started to become more accurate than human beings. That's when you saw Alexa, Siri, Google Assistant, all of them take off. Even as early as 2016, Sundar Pichai said that 20% of all searches were voice searches. So big adoption really took off as soon as the accuracy dropped and crossed that threshold. Accuracy improved beyond that threshold. So what does it take to improve that beyond that threshold? It requires three things. One, you need data. You need lots and lots of good, high quality data. And given how much tech has sort of permeated our lives, we are picking up all kinds of data sources every minute of the day, every second of the day. So there is, amazing amounts of data. But then people are also looking at new and innovative other sources of data, alternate data. For example, today, many big hedge funds, are using alternate data to actually make investments in the stock markets. As an example, there are funds that actually track the voice tonality of the CEO and the CFO in the earnings conference calls. So basically, they're looking at analyzing the audio of the earnings conference calls, and they're seeing, based on the tone of the CEO and the CFO, whether they're confident about the future of the business. Now, here's an interesting insight that they picked up from one of that analysis. They picked up that what the CEO says is not important, because CEO is always the optimistic guy. But the CFO, if he or she is nervous, that tells you that the business is going to not meet the earnings target. So they're actually using these sorts of information to make investments in the stock market. So new and improved source of data. So if you have to improve accuracy beyond human accuracy, you need better and higher quality of data and sometimes alternate data. Second is computing horsepower. You need tremendous amounts of computing horsepower to drive these kinds of things. So Chat GPT, which has been built by OpenAI, uses really large language models. And to train these large language models, it takes something like $5 million just the compute for every training run. $5 million is the computational cost of running training the algorithm.
one pass, right? So that is the size of these, but given how fast these costs are reducing, it's possible that it's highly likely that we'll be using more and more compute in the next few years. And as computing horsepower increases, you start to see better and better accuracy. Larger data set and more compute you throw at it, the more the accuracy will improve. The third part of this equation is the techniques. So if you bring in newer and more improved techniques, and that's what you're seeing, incremental progress on deep learning techniques, which are also bringing in huge improvements in accuracy. So bringing in better data, better compute, and better techniques, and voila, there is suddenly you see all sorts of magic start to appear. So Midjourney, which produces these beautiful looking art from a little prompt, is an example of that, right? It's almost magical when you see the kinds of art it produces, but it is because of this combination of data, compute, and technology. Now think about how do we create innovation in companies. I would say that yes, you need to definitely exceed human accuracy, but that's just a starting point. You have to solve problems and implement problems in the real world at scale. How do you do that? I'll give you with one example. So early, I think about 5 years back, Fractal incubated a company called Cure.ai, spelled as QURE.ai, in the healthcare space. So what we were interested in doing at that point of time was to solve the problem of reporting chest x-rays. So it turns out that doctors, radiologists are really bad at reading x-rays. So they have 23% error rate in reading x-rays and reporting x-rays. So 20% of the time, they may find something very important in the x-ray because they're not looking for it. They're looking for something specific. They miss something that is important. And sometimes they make other kinds of mistakes too. So 23% error rate. So we thought, yes, this is a great opportunity for Fractal to build a product. So we took millions of x-rays and built a very accurate algorithm to report out 30 different abnormalities with every chest x-ray. So we could take a chest x-ray, it would go through the algorithm, and that algorithm was called QXR, and it'll report out 30 different abnormalities. It will also produce an automated report. And our idea was that this report will be produced to the doctor, and the doctor will read this report and now will add value on top of that report. So that was our expectation. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way, and I'll come to that in a little bit. Before that, I want to tell you how accurate it was. So we ran a test, and this is a test was run by a third party, which is a hospital. It ran a test of 5,000 x-rays, and these x-rays were previously reported by other radiologists. So, and Cure algorithm didn't know what that reporting was. So Cure would look at those 5,000 x-rays. It would mark them as normal or abnormal, and they would also look at the original radiologist report. And in 4,000 of the 5,000 cases, the algorithm and the doctor agreed. Cure algorithm and doctor were in agreement. Great, no problem. The 1,000 places where there was disagreement, we had to resolve the disagreement. So there's a panel of 3 radiologists whose consensus was seen as a truth, as a ground truth. So in that, when you check that 1,000, and they were blind to what the algorithm had predicted or what was previously reported, in those, Cure algorithm was 2:1 better than the existing radiologist report. So, I mean, it's very clear today that any chest X-ray algorithm of the kind that Cure has built is definitely better than the average radiologist and matches the top radiologist. So we would expect that everybody should adopt this. Unfortunately, the world doesn't work that way, right? Doctors are not very interested in getting AI to help them. It's just simply not something that they think is good for them, right? So we were struggling with that, and then an opportunity emerged, and the opportunity that emerged was we started to work with the government of Philippines, and Philippines has a program, a TB screening program. So they send mobile vans all over the country of Philippines and collect chest x-rays to detect TB. Like India, Philippines also has a very heavy burden of TB. So what they would do is to collect these x-rays, because these are mobile vans there are a couple of assistants, technicians on the vans, but really there's no doctor or a radiologist on the van. So they have to go collect all these, then they come back to the headquarters, and then they process those x-rays. And 4 weeks later, sometimes 6 weeks later, they would contact somebody and say, hey, we did your chest x-ray 4 weeks back. Turns out you have TB. We want you to come and we want to put you on a drug therapy. You know what happens? Many people drop. Most people are lost to follow up. It's simply just too late. that was not working. So that we found as a great, brilliant opportunity for Cure's algorithm to plug in. So what we did was we set up the Cure algorithm inside that mobile van. So now, as soon as a chest X-ray is taken, within a minute, we know whether that person has TB or not. And within another few minutes, they're put on a drug therapy. Problem is solved much better. And this whole thing has taken off like a rocket. It's around the world, not just Philippines, India, multiple other countries in the world. 4 million people now have access to TB detection because Cure has been able to penetrate this. And this has been not because we said, hey, we have phenomenal data, let's build a great product, let's give it to the doctor, didn't work. But when we started working with TB and backwards from TB and backwards from the use case of Philippines, that's when really adoption took off. So the big sort of learning for me is, if you want to innovate in the real world, you have to work backwards from the user, from the use case, right? Not forward from your data. Don't start with tech in itself, right? Start with the user, start with the use case, work backwards, and then frame it narrowly enough. We were solving for TB. We're not trying to do chest X-ray in general, just solve for TB. Now, once we solved for TB, we also started working with AstraZeneca in lung cancer. Lung cancer, it turns out, is a very similar situation where if you detect it early, the outcomes are very good. But if you detect it late, most people don't survive. So if you detect through a lung cancer screening program, again, Cure algorithm actually detects lung cancer quite well, better than doctors and much earlier than doctors. And then that has now taken off around the world as well. So the explanation I'm giving you is that it is about user-focused decisions backwards from decisions rather than forwards from data. That's what I've seen as a recipe for innovation. You have to bring in 3 different things to make that innovation happen in the real world. You need to bring in algorithms. Great. Of course, our algorithms are very good. They were outperforming the doctor. But you need a solid amount of engineering skills as well, because in the real world, sometimes we don't even have internet. We are implementing Cure algorithms in Africa where there's no internet. So Cure has a little box which works on its own without any internet connection required. So you need all kinds of engineering inventions, both in terms of how you take all the data and how you automate decisions. And then you need design. You need to work with the idea of augmenting users, augmenting doctors, not just replacing doctors, but augmenting doctors. Because in the foreseeable future, it will be about AI's expertise will be in augmenting human decisions. As someone intelligently pointed out, AI is not going to take away our jobs. The people using AI are going to take away jobs of people who are not using AI. That's really what's going to happen, right? So to bring in great innovation with AI, you need algorithms, you need engineering, and you need design, a combination of these to solve and innovate in the real world. Now, how do we create those innovative organizations, innovative sort of entities, enterprises? You need 3 things again in that, and I want to tell you briefly. One is talent. You need game-changing talent in any such situation. Now, I'll give you an example of Google, what Google did early in 2012. In 2012, by 2012, between 2010 and 2012, you saw the real explosion of AI in the world in terms of research results. So speech recognition, image recognition, you started to see very good results. Nothing compared to today, but that was a time everybody started. I mean, at least in the Bay Area or in that, so tech native, digital native companies identified that AI is going to change the world. That was when they made that decision around 2010. And around 2012, Google was looking at its own portfolio of products, and there was not enough AI in all of that. Of course, it was a very intelligent company. There was a lot of cool technology, but they were not using deep learning to drive search results or drive any results of any product. So think Google Photos, anything like that. So at that time, they wanted to identify and bring a great technology or great AI leader to join them. So they went to Geoffrey Hinton. Geoffrey Hinton is the Turing Award winner for 2019. Which is the Nobel Prize in mathematics. Think of it that way. So they wanted him to join, and so Geoffrey Hinton had offers from everybody else, and he was doing research in Toronto. So he was like not very interested in joining Google, but Google gave him a very sweet deal, and eventually because Geoffrey Hinton had so many options, he said, okay, no, I can't decide to join Google. I'll create an auction for you. So he set up a little company. He called it DNN Research. People bid for that company. Google, Baidu, Microsoft, and a bunch of others there was an auction process, and once the price reached $42 billion, Jeffrey Hinton said, no, stop. Let's stop the auction. I'm going to join Google. He joined Google, and 5-6 years after that, really Google has dramatically increased its AI penetration inside the company, right? And now Google is truly an AI company. I mean, it has every single product of Google is AI driven. That's happened because of that game-changing talent that Jeffrey Hinton represented, and the kind of community he built around us. So you don't need a large number of people, but you need a very high quality set of people. Midjourney, which I started this talk with, that company only has 23 people, just 23 people. DeepMind, which is another brilliant company, innovative company, it started as a very, very small company. When Google acquired them in 2014, Google paid 400 million pounds to acquire DeepMind. DeepMind was a bunch of like 50 people, I think, 50 people, 50 research scientists with a bold ambition that we will solve intelligence and then we solve all other problems in the world. That was DeepMind's thinking. So Google bought them for 400 million pounds, and everybody said, why are you spending so much money on something crazy, money on this kind of a company? Because they don't do anything except playing Atari games. All they were doing at that time was to play Atari games better with algorithms. So the first thing Google asked them to do was to work on their contact centers. So they said, can you help us reduce the energy dependence of our contact centers, our servers, or all our server farms that we have? They consume a lot of electricity. It turns out Google consumes 1% of the world's electricity. 1% of world's electricity is consumed by Google. And in general, server farms, etc., consume about 3% of the world's electricity, and they're likely to consume something like 15% of world's electricity in the next few years. So it was a big problem. It's a massive amount of money that they spend on electricity. So the researchers from DeepMind came in, they brought in their deep reinforcement learning techniques, and within 10 weeks, they were able to reduce the electricity consumption by 15% and the air conditioning expense by 40% by bringing in deep reinforcement learning. So what I'm trying to say is that you need game-changing talent, and talent doesn't have to be too many, a few people, but who are mission driven, who are come together and work together really, really well. And how do they have to work together? You have to create a culture of transparency, of open feedback, and a collaborative way of working with each other where error is celebrated. I think one of our esteemed speakers spoke about failure. I think failure is a feature of startups. It's not a bug. It's a feature. If 100 companies start, 90 of them have to fail. That is just the law of nature, right? I mean, and take any process in nature, failure is designed, baked into it. So failure is not a problem, but you have to celebrate failure, you have to learn from failure, and then you find success. So an open experimentation culture with a small group of people with the right governance. Because AI is so powerful, you need more and better governance, because today it's possible that one little research lab can come and do something that will destroy the world because of how powerful AI is becoming, how fast. So you need the right AI safety approaches. With the right governance, the right team, and the culture, you can create an innovative AI company or innovative AI enterprise. I'm very impressed with how IIT Hyderabad has created this beautiful ecosystem that other speakers have also pointed out to drive innovation. I wish you all the best in experiencing the day today, and thank you for inviting me today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. As a student in the Department of AI, I would agree that innovation and generation of this quality data, along with high computing and distinct techniques, is definitely going to make it tenfold easier to achieve the unthinkable magic. I now request Director IIT Hyderabad, Professor B.S. Murthy, to kindly present the Honorable BOG Chair, IIT Hyderabad, and our guests of honor with a memento as a token of their gratitude.
It's always an honor and pleasure to see you. Thank you very much. I'm going to give you one, you're going to give
No,
me
no,
one
no.
thereafter.
You don't
So
need
that's
to
what
give it to
happened.
me one.
No, but thank- thank you.
Thank you so much. Our future growth relies on competitiveness and innovations, skills and productivity. And these in turn rely on the education of our people. I now hand over to Dean ITS, Professor Surya Kumar, for his vote of thanks.
Thank you, everyone. And it's my privilege to acknowledge and give the vote of thanks, acknowledging all the people who have contributed for the success of this event. Firstly, our guests of honor, Dr. Chandrasekhar and Sri Srikant, for taking time and sharing their ideas and sharing their vision with them. And also our BOG chair, Mohan Reddy sir, for essentially setting what is the expectation of industry, what is the expectation of government, and also what are the opportunities in the industry and in the innovation world available. And I think the task is cut out for us. Opportunities are available, and it is, I think, our responsibility to make best use of them. And thank you, sir. And of course, Professor Murthy is our internal, but thank you, sir, for your guidance. And also, I thank all the faculty, students, and startups who are displaying their stalls and their work. And please do join us in viewing them. And from an organizing front, I would like to thank the IT team, which has been taking care of all the major arrangements, and also the R&D section, the CMD section, the MS section, PRO, security section, guest house, computer section, etc. And apologies if I missed any. But this event has been made possible by help of a lot of student volunteers and distant sections of IIT Hyderabad. Thank you, everyone. And with that, I will request all to please join us in the TIP LAN where all the display of these events are done. But don't forget to come back here. We also have an event following up where we'll have a lot more, have the opportunity of hearing a lot more insights on entrepreneurship from our BOG chairman, Mohan Reddy sir, on the book launch function. So please do join us back at 12:30, and please do join us for the display. Thank you. Hi.
When it is a media friend to be in a TIP lawn, you can interview the people and the dignitaries there, please.
So I think all of you, while coming, you would have seen a building which is called Technology Innovation Park, a balloon also you would have seen there. So that is the location where we should all move forward now. Thank you, friends.
Thank you a lot for joining us. All the media friends, may I request you to be there with us.
Somebody, I think somebody's